Holy! That scared the crap out of me. Went live quicker than I expected.
It worked better than it's supposed to, which is
yeah. I used to get that timing down just right. Totally messed me up, folks. Welcome to Talking Crit. I am half of your hosts. If that makes any sense. Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With me, my once-a-week work spouse, one of the men behind North Texas RPG Con, the man who has been slabbing his gaming material.
Oh boy, we'll get into that a little bit tonight.
Yeah.
Mike, hopefully,
how often do you slab your RPGs, Mike?
I slabbed a lot. I slabbed quite a bit this week.
Oh my God!
I'm not proud to admit it, but I did it. No, yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit tonight. I just think I've got some stuff slabbed, and boy, apparently that blew up my Facebook feeds. Now, probably not yours. We're not in the same Facebook areas, but yes, it blew up my feed when myself and my friend Ingo Sherman announced we slabbed some RPG stuff. You would have thought that we would took a bunch of RPG stuff, put it in a wheelbarrow, set it on fire, and rolled it down the hill. But that was the response.
You weren't burning books, but you were protecting them. You were protecting
Put it
them.
in plastic. I can't read it anymore. I can't read your copy of Dragon 1 anymore. You put it in a plastic container.
Odds are you're never reading your copy of Dragon 1.
You were not going to read my copy of Dragon 1.
And not for nothing, Dragon magazines, the early Dragon magazines, were printed on the cover paper, was printed on this shitty cover paper. It was thick, but if you read it more than twice, it tended to tear along the seam.
And then and the spines are real bad too. And then they made the huge mistake. I'll show you in a little bit when we look at some of my slab stuff. The Dragon, and Tim Kask admits this mistake, Dragon magazine cover 1 was white. What do you not want to give gamers, Eric, if you want dirty gamers who touch?
I got my fingers. I got Cheetos on my fingers.
So all these Dragon 1s around the edges usually have this black, stainy stuff, Dragon 1. So it's hard to find a Dragon 1 in good condition. So I thought, I'm going to put mine in a slab so it doesn't get touched by dirty gamer hands. So no, I'm not going to let you look through my copy of Dragon anyway. So yes, I'm going to slab my copy of Dragon 1 because you weren't going to get to look at it. But we'll talk about it a little later. But we wanted to talk about a few things. I wanted to get something because Eric and I haven't even talked since he got back from ShireCon. I wanted to ask him some questions about ShireCon.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Holy shit. Mike's going to be doing the interview. I better get myself ready.
Yes. Well, so I normally don't feel very, like when people say, oh, I'm at Gen Con, I was like, I don't care. I don't want to go to Gen Con. The last time I felt really jealous was a few years ago. Everybody that I knew, including you, went to TotalCon. Now, you almost died afterwards, which wasn't good.
In 2020, that is true. But
you got pneumonia. But that Gen Con, everybody I knew was there. I mean, not Gen Con, I'm sorry, that TotalCon, everybody I knew was there. It looked like you guys had a blast. And I was just, man, I can't believe I missed TotalCon. I felt so jealous of you guys. And normally I don't feel jealous about missing really almost anything. This has been the one since then that the most, maybe last year's Long Con, because I heard some of the stories at Long Con that my brother and friends told that it sounded like it was a blast. But this sounded like, I should have been at ShireCon this year. It sounded like an absolute blast. The new venue looked great. I mean, every picture I saw, it's people I know and love, and everybody's having a great time.
All right, so here, let me get the handful of negatives out of the way, because everybody's gonna be like, well, it can't all be positive. So we'll get the negatives out of the way so that I don't have to say them later. Okay. Right?
Now, Tom, this is Tom. I want you to know, if you're watching, Tom, this is Eric talking about negatives, not me. I love ShireCon. I love it. So.
Tom will agree.
All right.
One negative is the AC broke like 2 days prior to the con.
Ooh, but you're up in the Northeast, right?
Now, I'll be honest with you. They had windows open and fans going, and honestly, I am somebody who suffers in a little bit of heat, and I felt comfortable. I was not a sweaty mess.
Which is shocking because you're a sweaty mess on the show sometimes too. So.
Yes, that's certainly. It's one of my strong points, Mike. I like to make sure look, my pits are, if you can see my pits are dry. So
real quick, this was a painting by Lloyd Metcalf. He and Easley did a where they just started painting Thursday and they were through by Sunday and they were sitting next to each other. Poor Lloyd must have started this 5 times because he's looking at Easley. I go, don't look at what Easley's doing, Lloyd. Just paint your own painting. You're never going to be as good as Jeff. And he just kept looking and going, I got to start over. And so I liked it. He finished it. I liked it a lot. So I asked Doug if I could buy it from him because Lloyd wanted to throw it in the trash. I'm going to throw it away. It's terrible. It's not as good as what Jeff. Yes, it's not as good as Jeff Easley, but whatever. And so I said, I'll buy that. So I paid Doug a couple $100 for it. And it's been sitting in the warehouse. And since we cleaned the warehouse out, I thought it needs to be displayed. So I'm going to put it up eventually. But I thought Lloyd did a good job on it. It's a dragon and it looks like a wizard doing some wizardy, Dracula stuff with a really cool landscape. And I thought Lloyd did an excellent job on this.
Lloyd does good work.
I commend it. It's not Jeff Easley, but it's really good. So I like to support my friends, and Lloyd. I think Lloyd's an excellent artist. So,
yep. So there was the AC was out. That's number one. Okay.
Oh boy.
Number two, the acoustics upstairs. Now, listen, compared to the acoustics at the old venue, night and day. All right. Yeah. If anybody's ever seen me at a convention, I generally don't sit except when maybe we're all taking a break. I stand when I GM, so I can walk around the table. And at the old venue, I always had to request a table on the side because the tables were so close. At least I knew if I requested one on the side, I could at least make it around one side of the table.
Right.
I like to be able to talk to people, get their attention, screaming from the end of the table in a convention. Do I have the voice of God? Have I been accused of that when I was working? Certainly. Doesn't mean that I want to use it in a venue like a convention. No. Oh, and Chet's at least tier 2. At least tier 2, Bob. Just saying. So here's the thing. There was room. I could walk around. It was great. We weren't stepping on each other. But the upstairs venue, I think, was originally like a dance hall or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this place, you didn't say, it used to be a movie theater.
Yeah,
it was a movie theater, and the upstairs been renovated. So
right. So the acoustics kind of were loud. I've gone through worse. Listen, if you game it at GaryCon, you've experienced worse. This is a nitpick, but it's one that I've heard.
The game of the GaryCon we had in the hall, it was in a hallway too. Yeah. So I mean, that was crazy.
Now, what I did like is there's one room, which I guess is like the projectionist room, that is like off on its own, higher than everything, like on floor 2.5, with like a window overlooking the second floor gaming area. But if you are somebody like personally, I would say if you were Rob Conley, who has hearing issues, you'd want to put Rob up there where it's totally quiet. Rob would probably run 3 games. God only knows. And we got Joe here, so Joe, I'm sure will be able to put work off from the there was a restaurant bar across the street that had excellent food. The prices were reasonable, and even the drink prices weren't bad. So that was literally, when I say it was stumbling distance from the venue. Now, the main floor of the venue was the theater floor. So it's in like 3 staggered sections or 4. I'm not quite sure how many. So, but the chairs, thankfully, are no longer bolted to the floor. They're bolted to like slabs of wood. So they're very comfy and they slide around, but they're heavy as hell. And there was vending upstairs on the second floor. And there was vending downstairs on the first floor where the stage was. And I didn't have an issue with this, but some people who were less steady on their feet were a little nervous about getting up there because then the stage is right behind you. All you need is a bowl in a China shop to knock somebody off.
Oh boy, yeah.
But
not good.
Nothing happened. And again, if you've got any awareness, if you're a New Yorker who's ever been in a subway, you've learned how to keep your balance and not get anywhere near the edge. You would have been fine. Other than that, the venue could accommodate so many more people. I believe the numbers, and I'm sure we'll get corrected by Tom later if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 125 pre-registered,
Hmm.
20 walk-ups. It's a town
Wow.
where you can get walk-ups. People can walk up to the venue. You weren't getting that in Falls Village, but you can get it. You could get it in North Canaan. So it was certainly. Oh yeah, we got the lawyer chiming in. Yeah, the stage vendors already with a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Mhm.
I'm shocked there wasn't a guardrail. Now they're going to have a year with this venue before anybody comes back. Now, I stayed in an Airbnb, literally a half mile from the place. I met the owner. Oh, Bob says 154. Holy crap!
Wow.
I met the owner uh, as I was packing to leave on Sunday morning. Very nice guy, and he was telling me that it was great too. He goes, I have one night a week where I can go out on my own without his wife, and that's Friday night. So he walks to that bar because, as he put it, if I overindulge, I can always stumble home.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect. Perfect plan.
And he was like, the amount of people in there buying food, buying booze, having a good time. He goes, exactly what this town needs. He goes, it was a beautiful thing to see. He's
Good.
looking
Good.
forward to the return of ShireCon. He goes, the town was really happy with everything. So that says a lot. It says a lot about the type of people that showed up too. You didn't have any jackasses causing trouble, not just at the venue, but in town in general. Sometimes you always have that person that's the
Sure.
loudmouth and complaining. But the venue was a really yes, it was a cool venue. It was unique. It kind of you're walking up a slant kind of when you're going in, like a lot of movie theaters, and you can see how this would be a theater back in the day. It was a lot. It was really, really cool. Oh, you have a few. I gave out some of my character cards this week from my Legion
I still
folder.
have a few. I don't. I miss. Like I'm low on some. Obviously, we're not printing it anymore, but we printed a lot of stuff at the time. I have plenty of copies of the rules. I actually have plenty of copies of the folders, which are beautiful folders too. I
Yeah,
use them for my games. I still use my games, and I have a limited selection of character cards. So if you're interested, matter of fact, I just met a nice gentleman at ReaperCon a couple weekends ago, and he said that he plays with his kids and he's going to start a game up at the local library. And I just sent him a care package myself. So while supplies last, I will send these out if anybody's interested in hopefully. I mean, if you're doing it for a church or school or home, something like that, I mean, I'll send you a personal copy, but I'd rather it be for something you're going to use it for to try to teach people how to play.
right.
That's what the game is for.
I had a player at my table who had a personal. He bought the PDF of Continua Light. He printed it out. He bound it. Beautiful job. And he didn't have a copy of the Swords and Wizardry Light rules. So, and I always run this with copies. Mike, I may need to re up. I think I'm down to like a dozen and a half copies.
Oh well,
Yeah.
hey, just let me know. We just cleaned out the warehouse and I consolidated all in one spot in the new warehouse, and so I know what I've got and I'm doing pretty good. So just let me know what you got. I will
Okay.
send stuff up, and I mean, like I said, it's a pity it's not being published anymore. It's a really good system. I use it to teach my grandkids how to play. It's just an excellent system, and I would still to this day, anytime, run a pickup game of that at a con.
Oh, it's perfect for
It's a great
convention
game.
play.
It's a great game.
It really, that's how it shines. I mean, we don't do pre-gens. Tom and Tammy Veralt, their characters will for the next convention that we're all at, they'll have second level characters because they survived two sessions.
I love it. That's great.
So I mean, you literally get to experience what it is like to be in a campaign type of version, even though it's at a convention.
My two favorite con games are that and BX. I'll run BX anytime. BX is so easy to run that I'll run either Swords Wizardry Light or BX anytime because, like you said, most times you probably want to do pre-gens to save time. You don't need to save to do that.
No.
I mean, it's so quick. It just, boom, you're done. So let's go adventure. And I saw people try to do one. You can't roll up one game.
No,
it takes forever. Yeah, I didn't think it took that long. It does. It takes forever to run a 1E character. But boy, Swords Wizardry Light, BX, man,
that's
on
why
the
you
right.
have you have your equipment packages and your weapon packages. So, and I know this hurts Joe because Joe is the in-game shopper,
Uh-oh.
but for a convention game, certainly you don't want to spend that much time. But yes, by the way, Don is in July, starting next July. There will be a WizardCon in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, I believe that Eric Garland and Heidi Gygax, his wife,
Yep, they
will
have
be
a new
special guests.
publishing. They have a brand new publishing endeavor that's doing pretty
Yeah.
well, it seems.
So they will be special guests there. Tim Cass will be a special guest. Wampler will be a special guest.
Oh my goodness, this sounds fun. Okay.
So it should be fun. I'll be attending. I figured out that I could fly or I could drive, but it's a 3-day con. So if I drive, 2 days there and back is the same as if I was.
And this is in Michigan. You said Battle Creek, Michigan.
Yep.
Probably too far for me, but
In July.
it sounds like fun. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
look.
no,
I'm looking for drivable. For me, it's a little too far, but Michigan's just a little out of my way.
Yeah, Joe is right. The issue with the venue is lodging. It's where you're going to stay. I mean, I got lucky. I had a local Airbnb, and it might be by next year a couple of people will see that, hey, this is working pretty well, and maybe they'll do Airbnbs, but you're not going to have enough to satisfy the need. So
Okay, I just looked. By the way, I just looked up Battle Creek, Michigan. Only 16 hours. That's 2 8-hour days. That's not out of my driving range.
Yeah, it's like 11 for me, so that's why I figured it. To me, that's 2 days.
2 8-hour days. Yeah, I can do it. So I'll think about it. I would definitely think about it. 2 8-hour days is. I think it was. I was looking at going to Kazian Con. That's a little too far north. I think that's like 20 hours or something. It's farther north Michigan. I couldn't make that, but Battle Creek's right there in the south, man. It's way south Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I would be taking like Route 80, Interstate 80, most of the trip. I'm actually mapped it out. When I could do that, it's very unstressful when you can spend like 8 hours on one road just going straight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why because Chaosium Con's in Ann Arbor. That's a little farther. That's way north.
Yeah.
Well, not way north, but yeah, it's too far. Ann Arbor is a.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for reminding me that this week is UN week. I used to hate UN week when I was working, not just because I was working, but because I worked in Manhattan, so it made any commute hard. But I am no longer working. I am retired, so I forget about UN weeks when it happens now.
Screw it. Yeah, let those UN people figure that out for themselves. Yeah. The problem is Ann Arbor. I just looked; it's way over by Detroit, whereas Battle Creek is on the opposite side of the state and farther south. So that's why I can save a lot of time with that. So, okay.
Bob says he rented a 5-bunk room at a B&B 20 minutes from the venue, $200 for the night.
That's wonderful.
We had a 2-bedroom. It was $150 for each night. We had it for 2 nights. We had a Tom and Tammy were our roomies. They had the other room. I didn't when I reserved it. I didn't even know it was a 2-bedroom, and then I went, "Oh, it's a 2-bedroom. All right. Well, let me reach out." I'm trying to catch up on the. Yes, Don BX is excellent for a con. It's so simple, so easy. I mean, in the back of my mind, when I was trying to get this easy OSR game that was going to be short, it had to be 1 sheet, 2 pages. It wound up being 4 pages, thank God, but 1 foldable, 1 larger sheet. That was BX was a large part of my inspiration when I whittled towards the Wizardry white box down. Certainly. Trying to get down here.
So what games did you play in?
Well,
I saw you playing some games.
Friday night, Rach and I played in Joe the Lawyer's OSR hack. It's there's a lot of AD&D 2E influence to it, but Joe's been playing with this rule set for ages, and the convention kind of accelerated the idea of getting something playable, at least for the players.
Uh-huh.
And he had, it ran well. If you knew D&D or AD&D, you were well situated to play a spellcaster. So, of course, I played a gnome cleric. I happened to play a gnome priest in Joe's regular campaign, so it was a lot of fun. And Bob in the audience live right now, was also in that group. He has or had like rubber polyhedrals. They are easy to see and they roll really silently. He gave us that to rate. I know Bob's still looking for the D6. Don't worry. She's loving it as it is, man. She used it in every game. Bob played in Paranoia.
Ooh.
And the other, and this other, I gotta get back into. I ran Paranoia 1E back in the day. I have a letter from Ken Ralston signed in character from the computer, breaking in because I never got dice in my box set. And back in the day, dice were worth their weight in gold, and I
Oh, yeah.
needed my fucking polyhedrals, which I didn't get. But instead, I got a letter signed by Ken Ralston, apologizing, and then the computer telling me, breaking in on the letter, that there's no way that the computer made a mistake. And if I was going to assert the computer made a mistake, I should turn myself in for termination. I still have
That's
that letter
great.
in my paranoia box. I've
That is
taken pictures
great.
of it. I need to put it back up. But I mean, honestly, if we could get good money for it at a North Texas auction, man, I'd auction that letter off in a heartbeat because it
I
was.
bet you somebody would pay for that. Probably. That's
I
great.
also have playtest material for Hill Sector Blues because
Oh, that was the one that and that was the one the takeoff on Hill
Hill
Street
Street.
Blues. Yeah.
Yep. And we actually play tested that in their offices when they were in Manhattan. And you weren't it was at night. You couldn't come in through the front door of the office building. They had to let you in through like the service entrance in the back. And you couldn't, I don't think we took an elevator to the office. I think we had to walk up the stairs. And you played at people's desks. There was no like playtest area. You literally sat at the desk of the designers that went home for the day. So it was interesting. Oh,
Oh wow.
Jeff D is also going to WizardCon.
Oh
So
really? Wow. Okay, that's cool.
yeah,
Holy crap! Looks like that's going to be an all-star cast. Now, what time of year is this again?
July.
Oh, July's perfect. It's so miserable hot here. It'll be great to
Yeah.
get out there. I'm going to look at it. The only limitation I have is I have to drive through Illinois, and I can't stand Illinois. But maybe I can do it really quick. And is there an interstate? Maybe there's an interstate that goes through it. I could just take that. So
that I'm looking forward to. Like I said, when Don told me about it, I was just like, initially I was like, oh man, I'm trying to cut down on air travel aside from North Texas, and I went, let me just
yeah,
map this. And I went,
not too bad.
hey,
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yeah, that's right down. You can just take one road the whole way. It looks like pretty
yeah,
much.
uh, somebody let Ty into the room. I don't know how that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. Go to St. Louis. Go from here to St. Louis to Chicago, then skirt the lake and go boom right around. Yeah.
Don says that they'd be honored to have you at the con. Our tabletop events will be up this weekend, and we have the ability to have you all sign up with games. Damn.
Definitely look into it. This looks great.
Joe was like, "Yeah, he got Tim Shorts to join him and his brother for a fire pit show when we got home Saturday. They talked about the con. So, Joe, it's what was it like? You can't put the link in, but it's like you do a YouTube search for Joe the Lawyer, and it'll take you to Joe's channel.
Yeah, but watch some of those links it's going to send you to when you put Joe the Lawyer in there. You don't want kids to be around if you see some of those links at all.
Just saying. Yep. Greg, I owe you a beer. We got a bet in the Dallas Jets game. Oh my
So,
god.
and you ran which game did you ran Swords Wizardry Light, or did you run?
I ran Swords of Wizardry Light on Saturday morning. That run we were short one player, but I knew we were going to be. He reached out to me. He just wasn't going to be able to make the con. Real life took precedence, and I thought we were going to have 2 juveniles at the table because the person that was running a game of, I forget what it was, for the kids table or kids game. There were only 2 kids signed up, and the person running it didn't make the con.
Oh,
Well, I was like, I can take the kids and I can adjust. And by the way, we'll probably address this later in the show with consent and
boy, yeah, we
we'll
got to
get
talk
into
about
that.
some of the good
But
stuff.
they didn't show, so I was able to be my normal descriptive self when it came to running the game. It was a lot of fun. We had 7 players. It was just the right touch. Everybody's saying hi, Greg. Hi. It's like the Brady Bunch, or is it the Waltons? No, it's like the Waltons. Good night, John
That was
Boy.
Good Night, John Boy. Yes.
Yeah. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, Grandpa. Good night, Grandma. Yeah, Joe's game was a lot of fun. It was really. Joe was a good DM. Don't let anybody say otherwise. I know, like
Never.
Tim Schwartz will bust his ass, but Joe is a really good DM, but he put so much time into every session getting things prepped. I don't. Just a little secret. Little secret.
And I almost want to, when somebody does that, doesn't the evil part of you almost want to just derail all their preparations?
Mm-hmm.
And say, yeah, you know what? I know you planned for this big tavern brawl, but we're going to go over here next door to the antique shop, and we're going to shop there for a while and do some role playing. How do you feel about that, DM? Who has all the tavern set up with all the chairs, tables, and miniatures? I wouldn't really do that. I would do it.
Bob, I had no idea that was your son at the table. Wow. Okay, cool. And yes, Bob ran a game when I was running Swords and Wizardry Light, and his players got shirts, hats, dice bags, little red lasers. I was duly impressed with the setup. Bob went all out. Holy shit! And then
Wow.
the after lunch session was it Dark Trails, the DCC Western game. We were play testing essentially an adventure by Ian McGartney.
Wait, isn't that Weird Frontiers?
Weird
Or I think
Frontiers.
it's
Thank you. I couldn't remember the name.
Frontiers.
It's changed because
That's right. Yeah, it's weird.
Of a request.
Which, by the way, still to this day, Weird Frontiers has the biggest rule book I think I've ever seen. It's like,
oh yeah, no,
it's huge.
If I'm not sure if he has it up as print. David has it up as print on demand. David Beatty, but if it's print on demand, it's probably coming in 2 volumes. So I don't think they can print on demand that size of book. Yes, Bob, you were the tchotchke king. So it was a lot of fun playing in Ian's game. He kept the pace going. For some reason, the dice always kept on randomly choosing Tammy Veralt when it came to getting hit and beat upon.
Oh no!
And Ian pointed out that Rachel was the most bloodthirsty individual.
Always a quiet one.
And he goes, and it's not just the Western game. He goes, every time he plays with Rachel, she's always like, "So how do I kill it? What do I do?" It's like, so she always has a great time. Yeah, no, I should slab that letter.
Yeah. Well, no, don't slap the letter because, oh wait, you still would be able to read it, but
you can still read it. Yeah,
but you couldn't touch it, so people would get really mad because you couldn't touch the letter.
You can't get your greasy fingerprints on it.
There would not be any greasy Cheeto prints on there. So, I kid. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Hold on.
So I think Don asked about, is it going to be all weekend? I think that's eventually Tom's plan, is to make it
right
at least all day Friday and Saturday, right?
Right. He's growing organically. So Next year, he figures he can support 2 sessions on Saturday and 3 sessions. Sorry, 2 sessions on Friday, 3 sessions on Saturday, which is pretty good when
cool. Yeah.
last year was open gaming Friday night and 3 sessions on Saturday. And I was floored. We had easily 50, 60 people on Friday night.
Wow.
So a lot of people, if it's a 2-day con, many people only come for Saturday. People are working on Friday. The number of people that were there Friday floored me. I was stunned.
I think that if there's a problem they're going to run into, it sounds like everybody's kind of saying the same thing. It's probably hotel rooms, right? That's going to be the issue because they can only get so big because unless you want everybody to stay 20 minutes away or whatever, it's just not going to work out to stay close by.
Oh yeah, Elvis, one of the older juveniles, was like the lucky winner of 2 of the raffles, including the grand prize. That kid is enough role playing material to last.
Wow. What was it? So what was the grand prize? I gotta know.
I couldn't even tell. Although I could not see from where I was what he was getting, but he'd already gotten, like, I forget which batch of goods it was. So he got more. The grand prize was a lot of stuff. Now I donated.
I donated a bunch of stuff, and so did Frog God. So maybe it was in that pile too. You never know.
Oh, I donated the Conan board game and the Kickstarter exclusive box of
that's
accessories.
A nice game. That's a really nice game.
Yeah, and the accessory box is still sealed, and that tells you a lot.
Dude, man, I could have taken that off your hands. I mean, I would never play it. I sort of looked at it adoringly, but
and then had a Batman board game that I backed on Kickstarter that I didn't even know I had for a year, was in my basement. So I said, well, it's still in the shrink. Gonna get donated.
If after a year you haven't busted it out, it's probably time to go, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right, Ty. If we got both Glazers in the room, Tom Tullis can't be far behind.
Oh boy.
Oh God. ShireCon question. Oh, yeah. It's only 1.5 days. I don't know when Tom is going to expand to Sunday, and like it's already been stated, this venue is night and day beyond the old venue, and the old venue was quaint. This one is quaint and yet usable, and could probably handle 225 without much of an issue in attendance. It's just that the area around does not have a nearby local hotel.
That'd be all I have to worry about.
Yeah.
Even with Airbnbs and bed and breakfasts, you're probably going to max out your space at a certain point.
Right. You're going to have people that are going to be driving 30 minutes to get to the venue in the morning, which, so then it becomes, how far do you move it? It's in a lot of ways, it's a problem that like GaryCon is experiencing at a much greater level.
Because much greater level, but same problem. GaryCon has maxed out the venue and probably all the hotel rooms at this point.
So that is an issue. And GaryCon, if GaryCon's not going to be in Lake Geneva, it's going to be in Milwaukee. I mean, that's pretty much the route you're going to go. Do I think that GaryCon would do well in Milwaukee? I think that give that con, because it's a 5e con too. It's not just OSR. Give that con 3 years in Milwaukee. I think you got attendance of 10 to 15,000.
And here's a great thing, Eric, and I'm sure Luke has already thought about this. This is just us spitballing here, but next year he's doing what's called Founders and Legends, which is the weekend before GaryCon. They're selling tickets at they got like 20 tickets at $1,000, and then the other tickets are all $100 a piece. Whatever. I mean, it's going to make them what 50 grand, 100 grand, or whatever. But then they're going to have GaryCon after that, and I think they just found a way out of their dilemma, because what they could do is they could have GaryCon and Founders and Legends. Have Founders and Legends in Lake Geneva, and make that the more, hey, this is when you get to meet the old school guys. This is when you get to do the tour of Gary's home, this and that, and turn GaryCon itself into the big con in Milwaukee. And that's the big con everybody goes to. I'm sure they've discussed it. I'm sure they've had to have discussed it.
Yeah, I mean, if you had 2 cons, one still staying at in Lake Geneva, one moving on to Milwaukee, I think that is the best of both worlds. And I would tell you this: if Gary Kahn goes to Milwaukee. I like flying into Milwaukee from New York. My God. The TSA guys there, first off, there's no line. Secondly, when they do go through your luggage and they find D&D material, they're like, "You're a gamer?" It's like, yeah. I wanted to give away Swords of Witchery Light copies. They weren't able to take it.
Oh, yeah, because they can't take gifts, can they?
No.
You should have said, "I'm going to leave this right on this table over here, wink, wink." And if it just happens to disappear, it'll disappear. So, oh, Tom did show up. Man, this is all this. Oh, Eric, I have to announce something very, very important and very special right now. I just looked at the subscriber thing. I think we hit 3K.
Let me check.
It says 3K on what I'm looking at right now. It says 3K.
Let's see. Oh my God, we are at 3K. How did that happen? Hold on a second.
That must have taken us a year for the last 300. I mean,
no,
and it just stalled out, man.
This summer stalled out, but I think now that we've hit 3K,
there we go.
I think we're gonna go. So hold on a second. Wow, I would have.
Well, thanks to obviously Eric for putting on such a great live stream, but all Glenn and all the dudes at the Friday night soiree that we call the random party generator, and of course obviously Rachel for the Saturday night show. I mean, it's everybody has done a part in getting 3,000. That doesn't sound like a big deal because you're looking at. I mean, we're not Jenny D, okay? We're not hot and cute and sweet and have 75,000 subscribers, but we do what we can, right? I mean, that's we do what we're doing, and we don't compromise. We're not like another famous guy who once ran a channel who said, "Well, if my ratings aren't here the third show, I'm out," and then just canceled like 15 shows in a row because he didn't have 10,000 subscribers in a week. This has been built slow but the right way. It's been built absolutely the right way. Just talking about. I mean, sometimes those guys on Friday night, man, they just. I mean, the whole show is them just ripping on Rob Conley. Poor Rob. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Jenny. She doesn't have 75,000 subscribers. She has 586,000 subscribers. So we're right on your heels, Jenny. We're right on your heels. We're gonna take it. They're gonna take it to you.
All right.
We will be right. We'll be matching up with Jenny any day now.
All right.
And her 500,000 subscribers.
Folks, I need you. I just put it in the chat. I'm going to catch up to that in a second. I need you, if you want to be involved in the giveaway, which, by the way, we should probably say Jen Glazer
is this tonight? Is this giveaway tonight?
I will do a giveaway tonight. How about this? We will do a giveaway this night and the next two ones.
All right. I mean, you didn't give me a chance to get anything together.
No, that's okay. That's okay. This is going to be for a single prize.
It's a single prize.
Okay. $100 gift certificate to RPG Now. Oh, sorry, Drive.
Oh, don't do it with Jen on there because Jen will win it and everybody get mad.
I told you, Jen, you're not allowed.
She's not allowed to win.
They've allowed me now to. Only one person is entered. Keep hashtag winner. Not wiener, not whiny. Hashtag winner. Hold on. Don, the attachment has little to do with the fact that it's a business. So if you can keep both, if you can do both, I think so. I think they move. Joe will unsub just so I wait for one more. I will drive to Connecticut and kick Joe's ass if that's the case. Thank you, Don. So hashtag winner. Oh, sorry, I am the only person that's in. And hashtag as it's on the screen, WINNER. At 9:00, we will spin the random wheel of goodness, and we will give away $100. And I'll do that. I'll give away $100 next week, and I'll give away $100 the following Wednesday. So, and I will say that there's an affiliate link on the bottom of the screen: 10cars-tavern.game/pirate. There is a pirate sale. Oh, I hate to say though. There's a pirate sale going on at Drive Through RPG for pirate settings because it's Talk Like a Pirate Day yesterday or something like that. So this week they have a pirate sale. Your shopping with the affiliate link is how we get the monies to do these giveaways. And I will say this: two people, one person made a purchase for like $950. Somebody else spent $850.
And you got that's great.
That was just last week. So when people make purchases like that, there's some major dollars that goes into the account that allows us to do these giveaways, and I love doing that. So
I'm seeing a lot of Jenny D hate here. Don't hate, don't hate the player, hate the game. She's just doing what she does, and she does a really good job at it. Look, I watched her videos. I don't not my thing, man, at all. But she does what she does, and she does a good job doing it. And she's got 500,000 subscribers doing basically product placement at this point. She just says product placement, makes 40,000 people watch her video. So don't hate the player, man, hate the game. She's doing what she's doing, And no, Joe, I would rather see her boobs than your yucko man boobs. That's gross.
Yeah, I've already seen James Bond's man boobs. I don't need a repeat of that.
I'll tell you one thing about Jenny. She keeps herself in shape. She looks really good. I mean, she obviously, her cosplay stuff means a lot to her because she has not allowed herself to go to hell like people like me and Eric and Joe the lawyer and all the 90% of the people watching this. So I don't have any hate for her. Look, she does what she does, and she does a good job at it. So look. She doesn't look. She was one of the ones that said, "Get away from WotC. They're screwing you over," and I appreciate that because she was one of the people with the biggest audience that actually came forward to say, "Hey, this OGL stuff, this stinks." Because I saw a lot of other streamers going, "Oh well, it's whatever. If they want to do that, WotC can do that." Because they were scared they might get disinvited to a WotC event, or they might not get their happy package from WotC, which, by the way, they send those out every month. They send out your package of freebies that you get for, kissing their ass every month. And they were all scared, like, oh, hey, we don't want to make WotC mad or anything. And so I appreciate you did that.
God forbid you get WotC mad. So the question was,
Jenny right now. Jenny's big. She doesn't need WotC. Actually, I think there's a lot of people who don't need WotC right now.
Well, if men
Jenny
left the hobby,
I never saw it. If you show me a receipt, I'll watch it. But I don't remember. I never saw that. So she may have said it. I'm not saying.
No. I was it Diversity and Dragons did a video on her using clips from her Twitter, and she said some really stupid stuff.
But that's what she, like I said, that's what she does. That's what she is. She does goofball. I mean, have her videos of her with green paint on.
Not goofball, Mike. She said some stuff that was definitely anti-male gamer. Listen, I appreciate what she's done in the OGL fiasco era. She certainly put wings behind a lot of stuff that wasn't getting that much listening to or that much reach. So I give her credit. Listen, even if a clock is broken, it can be right at least twice a day.
It's right a couple of times, yes.
So folks, at the hour, at the top of the hour, we're giving away $100 in drive-through RPG gift certificate monies. One single prize to one person who enters by going #winner. So if you want to be part and get an entry in, you got to go #winner. It ain't that hard.
No.
We're celebrating our
anybody here can do it. Even you guys can
subscribers. Which means that by the time we finish this episode, we'll probably be down to $29.98 because somebody's going to be like, fooled you. But no. See, Ty, we're not going to go Hollywood. It's actually impossible for Mike and I to go Hollywood.
We don't have faces for Hollywood, first of all.
No.
Yeah, not at all. Not even, no.
First off, neither Mike nor I could even be like, I don't know, Russell Brand, because we have no kind of history you can dig up and try to unperson us or cancel us. So we could never go Hollywood because we're pretty much cancellation free.
Russell Brand, by the
boring.
way, that guy, he cracks me up because he started out as, I guess, a far left wacko, and now he's turned into, I don't even know what he is now. He's just all over the place. He's hilarious, man. He's just nobody can control the guy. I mean, and I'm surprised. Honestly, Eric, I'm surprised more rock stars and Hollywood stars don't do that, because they've got, who I really respect in the industry, Hollywood actors and actresses, is Bridget Fonda. She retired from acting like 20 years ago.
Right.
I mean, she hasn't done it. If you notice her movie, she hasn't done anything in like 20 years. And she looks like a mom now. She she doesn't look like a Hollywood star, like a mom. She takes care of her kids. And somebody asked her, like, don't you want to really get back into acting? She's like, why? Like, that was my job. I did my job for however many years, 20 years. I made millions of dollars. I don't need to work anymore. And I'm like, amen, sister. I don't understand why more of those, she goes, I want to raise my kids. And I respect that. I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's not like she was any great kick-ass actress before. I mean, she was okay, but that makes sense. You made your money. Why would you want to get back into acting? It doesn't seem like sometimes it's not that much fun. And she's like, yeah, why am I do this? So I don't understand why more of them don't do a Russell Brand. Just like, you know what? I have millions of dollars in the bank. I can really pretty much say whatever I want now. And what are you going to do? You're going to cancel me? How are you going to cancel me? Because I still go home to my mansion every night with my my servants and my, and the special dietary cook that fixes my meals, and I jump into my Lamborghini. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to say bad things about me? I mean, come on. I mean, Eric and I can't do that. I can't go home and jump in my Lamborghini. Not anymore. I mean, not for a while, not for the next few weeks. It's in the shop, but maybe after, maybe later on in October.
Mr. Gunn says Russell Brand is a serious lefty, has a large YouTube channel.
He is, but they hate him, Gunn. The lefties hate him too, because he's anti-vax and anti. He's not just anti-vax; he's anti-any-vax, if I remember correctly, not just COVID vax.
Yeah, it's right to saying in the background. He's anti-establishment.
He is very much
anti-establishment. Jimmy Dore is anti-establishment. Jimmy is a huge lefty, but he's going to be playing out in Leviton. I'm going to go see him for a second time in a couple of months.
Because not Jane Fonda, Bridget Fonda. Bridget's Henry Fonda's daughter.
You got to get the right Fonda.
Screw Jane Fonda. I hate Jane Fonda, but no, Bridget Fonda is not Jane Fonda. Different.
Oh, Ty's in the mix. Let's see how many people are in the mix.
Why does he makes a lot of money as a lawyer? I don't understand what he's trying to.
He's allowed. He's
yes, he is. All right. Yeah. So we have a few topics of conversation here. Where are we going to go first tonight? We've got WotC shenanigans. We've got X card shenanigans. We've got slabbing shenanigans. Where are we
Let's do the slabbing first, because it's kind of like a show and tell. Okay.
But hold on, I'm going to get an argument with Gunn here. Bridget's not an actress; she could never act. You're talking about 90% of Hollywood, Gunn.
Yeah.
At least she had the goodwill to quit. Just say, I don't need to be doing this anymore. There's no point in me doing this. I have kids. I can raise my kids. So I'll give her credit for that she quit. None of them can. Have you seen Megan Fox? Have you seen a Megan Fox movie? And she's in Expendables 4. I don't know why. I mean,
why?
Sly could out act her. I mean, any of those He-Man himbos and Expendables can out act Megan Fox. I'll tell you right now. I mean, I'm going to see Expendables 4 because I like to see things blow up, but I'm going to try to tune out Megan if I can. So,
why doesn't Matt Roberts log on to our show? Because he's too busy counting unopened boxes of RPGs that he ordered like decades ago.
By the way, that was a great bit. That was a great bit where he opened a. You know who needs to do that bit is Guppy. Guppy has. You walk in his house. There's a stack of boxes there, like 3 months old. He doesn't even know what's in it. No clue. And so Guppy needs to do that in North Texas. I may try to talk him into doing that. That looked like a great bit where Matt just opened random packages and had no clue what they were. Just stuff he had laying around. Yeah. Sometimes I think she might be AI. She's that bad. So yeah. God, you guys are cracking me up tonight. So let's talk about slabbing for a second. So I had mentioned earlier in the show that I was going to get some DD module slab. It blew up on Facebook. If you happen to go to certain places on Facebook, and everybody, it went between like, yeah, it sounds like a cool idea, to, oh my God, you're ruining everything in the world, because once it's put in a slab, nobody can ever read it, and the information must be free. Everybody must be able to see your Dragon Magazine 1, even if you don't want them to. They should be able to go over to your house and pull it up and read it. And so I just said, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyway. But I was approached by a guy at CBCS. He said, hey, why don't you think about, we're starting to do RPG stuff. And so I was actually their first customer. I by the way, this is not a paid endorsement. I got nothing for this. I went there because I could drive there. I've been thought about slabbing my stuff for years. I had a terrible, terrible experience with CGC with some comics about 10 years ago, where I sent them some stuff. The United States Postal Service misplaced it. It didn't get there for a month, which I freaked out the whole month, because I'm thinking, did I insure that box for my comics for enough? This, that.
Right.
They got it. It took almost a year to get it back. I mean, they are way backed up, CGC. And then when I got it, this is comics, by the way, not games. I'm like, I don't think that's my comic. I thought it was like, I don't think it just didn't look that. Anyway, it didn't get the grade I wanted. It was not a good experience. So CBCS is close by. It's in Plano. It's about an hour drive. So I was able to drive my stuff there, which alleviated a lot of the stress. And so they're going to start doing RPG stuff. And you say, well, why would you want to have your RPG stuff? So let me show you a few things that I got. So I have my Dragon Magazine #1 slab. Respectable, got a 7.5, which I think is fine. That's not anything above 7s. I'm okay with. Anything under 7, I probably wouldn't be that happy with. But as you can see, we're talking earlier about the white edges. These are actually really white. I don't know. I could look up. There's a barcode you can scan back here. It tells you what the grader saw. Not sure why that got a 7.5, because my Dragon Magazine #2 got a 9.0, which is very mint or near mint. So
right.
And honestly, to me, they look the same. So I'd have to look at the notes, but they do include the notes on there. Anyway, they started doing RPG stuff because CGC has been doing RPG stuff for a while, and they're one of their competitors in the industry is CGC. Here's my RPGA 1 Rahasia, which was later became, I think, B7 Rahasia. B7 was the reprint Rahasia. This is the RPGA version. 8.0 that's a nice grade. Got my Dungeon 1. Once again, very fine, 7.5. I always love that cover. That's a great Keith Parkinson cover. Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
As you can see, these are really nice. They're about half an inch thick, very solid. I mean, you could drop these in the floor all day long. It's going to happen to them. So the main reasons I got parts of my collection stuff. Oh, here's a good one too. This is my lowest graded one. I knew it was going to be low grade, but I wanted it to be it's just a cool item. Warriors of Mars, the TSR version. They're not supposed to put it out. It was a illegal version of that. And I had a bunch of more stuff. And then I got one of my Japanese modules done. It's a 9.0. It's the Japanese version of B3. So I just kind of got an electric selection of my stuff, about a couple dozen items. So the main reason I wanted to do this is a couple of reasons. Number one, one of the reasons is I have damaged items by handling it before. Eric, where are you? It's just me.
I was just doing a solo.
Oh, no, come back on it.
I know.
I have damaged items over the years by handling them. Anytime you handle an item, you may put a stress mark in it. You may ding a quarter. You may put a crease in there.
Yep.
And I am a really clumsy MFer, and I will do that. I will drop stuff, scratch it, whatever. But mostly, I have had several close friends pass away in the last year, and this year we just lost a big collector, Scott Brand, who's one of the biggest D&D collectors. I mean, he's way up there. He's in the Bill Meinhardt territory of D&D collectors. Bill Meinhardt, Alex Kamer. But the last couple of years, I've lost some personal friends, and they had large collections, and that their significant others had no clue what to do with after they passed away. And they're just sitting here looking at 100 boxes and saying, what do I do with this? And it's really, really tough on the people left behind to have to deal with your shit. And I realize this the older I've been getting. And the more and more friends we've had pass away. Eric, you know, we've already had two people that went to North Texas, two people that went to North Texas this year pass away this summer.
Really?
Yeah, two North Texas attendees passed away, both unexpectedly, not long-term illness guys, just die. I want to leave you have to have a grade to have slab. I mean, there's no point in getting it slab without being graded. You might as well have a grade if you're going to get slab. You're paying for the same thing. So I'll get into all the cost stuff in just a second. But so anyway, I'm just telling you why I did. I did it because I wanted it to be easier for my wife to sell this stuff. Now, if I pass away, all she has to do is throw this on eBay. Dragon 9.0, there you go. Boom. She doesn't have to say anything. She doesn't have to answer a question or 7.5. It says right there what the grade is. She doesn't have to try to grade it. What do you think it is, Christy? What do you think the grade is? She doesn't know. She has no clue what this stuff is.
It looks nice.
She just throws it up there, and then she can ship it easy too. You put this in a priority box, and it's shipped, and it's really done. So I wanted to do a lot of the most valuable stuff in my collection over the next few years to make it easy when I pass away. So for my spouse, for my kids and grandkids, because I'm going to tell you right now, I know this. I'm going to tell you from absolute experience. If you pass away, your spouse and significant others don't give a shit about your collection. They don't care about it. They want it out of the house as soon as possible. And if they can get whatever they get for it, they're fine with it. So if you think you're saving up all this stuff, and, oh yeah, my wife's going to sell us. No, they're not. The first guy that comes along waving cash says, I'll take it all. They're going to say, take it. Thank God. Give me anything you got. And I've seen that happen over and over and over again. I don't care if you've told your wife it's worth money. I don't care if you told your kids it's worth money. They don't want to deal with it. It is a long and arduous process. Imagine let's just say 25 boxes of material, which is pretty, most of you guys that are big collectors have probably 20 boxes or so. Imagine trying to go through every item in there and sell that individually. I'm not talking about a Dragon magazine collection. You just say Dragon magazine, 50 through 150, whatever. I'm talking about just separate items. Imagine going through that and them having to deal with that. They're not going to do it. They're going to take it to the nearest used bookstore and dump it. I knew one family that said that our buddy Jason Zavoda, who passed away a few years ago, he said, Mike, if something ever happens to me, I want you to come get my collection. My family's already told me they're going to throw it all in the dumpster when I die. And thank goodness for Ron Meisker, who's running a convention in Philadelphia this January. Uh-huh. Ron went by and got the collection because he knew, like I did, there was some stuff in there that needed to be saved that did not need to go in the dumpster because your relatives are too stupid to sell your stuff. So I'm just telling you, no matter what you think is going to happen to your collection, it's going to get dumped. So I wanted to make it easier for my family to deal with. And I wanted to protect the items too. I feel like this is really, really good protection. I found out today from the guy I talked to there, it's actually air permeable. So it's not airtight, which is good. You don't want it to be actually airtight. Things can actually decay in airtight.
Right.
Unless there's not neon gas I'm looking for, or argon gas, whatever in there. It's actually not good to put things in airtight containers. So anyway, so I went by there. The average cost per item, it averages out about $35 to $45 an item, which I didn't think was very bad. That's also, they do something called pressing it, where they really mash it flat, and it gets out all the creases, the wrinkles, anything like that. If you have an autograph or signed copy, they have to do what's called a signature whatever. It's like $35. I personally wouldn't recommend that unless I have one item that was signed by Easley on the cover. I did it for that because it's a cover signature, but I also did it for Merle Rasmussen's signature. It was interior. Now I wish I hadn't, because what's the fun of having something signed by people if you can't look at it, right? I mean, at least if it's on the cover, you can look on the cover and say, oh, look, Easley or Jeff D or whatever signed that. But when it's inside, like, oh, inside it's signed by these 5 people. Okay. I mean, I've got a D's and my guys, Eric, that's signed by Darlene, Errol Otis, Jeff D, James Ward, Rob Kuntz, Diesel LaFord. Why would I want to slab that? Right. I mean, I want people to open it up, and then Diesel drew a sketch on there, and they all did their signatures really big and cool. I mean, I want people to see that. I don't want them to say, oh, yeah, there's my D's and the other guy signed by all these cool people that you can't see anymore. So I probably wouldn't do that anymore. I wouldn't have it done. Argon gas, you're right. Yeah, that's it, Mr. Gunn. So anyway, I just did some items. I just thought it was funny because within the community there is a large Here we go. We're gonna draw.
We're gonna do the drawing. It's 9 o'clock. We're gonna do the drawing real quick.
Oh boy, here we go. I should have put my name in. Oh,
all right, Peter. Congratulations.
Did you win? I thought
David, once? You were just a moment too late. You'll have to be. We're gonna do this twice more. Not tonight. The next 2 Wednesdays. So, email me.
Anyway, so somebody just said a story about there about somebody going through his apartment and threw away a bunch of stuff. True story. A few years ago, a couple that go to the convention, friends of Mike and Liz Stewart, a friend of theirs called him. He was with a apartment cleaning service. He said, you guys collect games. You guys need to get over to this apartment right away. What happened was somebody had passed away. This guy, Marshall Mahurin, knew him. He worked for miniatures companies in the 80s. His entire apartment was full of gaming stuff. That he died. The company was told to throw everything in the trash. And they went by and picked everything up. He probably made $25,000 off what was in that apartment. They were going to throw in the trash. Once again, if it had been slabbed, somebody would have said, whoa, this thing's slabbed. It must be worth something. Look at this. It's got a slab in there. So this is just for me to protect myself. But anyway, the main thing that's come out of this has been hilarious is that people that are old school D&D people do not like the idea that you're going to slap something because they think it's going to ruin the hobby. And things are going to go way up in price and speculators are going to get in the hobby. And this is terrible because you can't read the book anymore. As if any of us are pulling out, like on the weekends, I don't pull out my Dragon Magazine #1 with a cherry cola next to me and a chili dog and read it, as I'm chili dog.
You don't?
I spilled my red cherry cola. No, I don't do that. Nobody does that. So that argument is just dumb that you can't read it anymore because also if you Google Dragon Magazine #1, the first thing that pops up is on the internet is a copy of Dragon Magazine #1 under one of the archives. And so you can copy it, read it, whatever. You can always see this stuff. But I'm just going to let you guys just put a little bug in here. This is something that's going to get really big in the next few years. People are going to start slabbing stuff. They're just barely starting to sell this stuff on eBay. I've noticed a few sales go up of slabbed items. It's going to be really interesting to see where this goes in a few years. And I am going to get more stuff slabbed because I think it's the way of the future. It's going to help my family be able to sell stuff if something happens to me. It's going to help me. Look, when I turn 65, how much longer am I going to collect stuff? The only stuff I buy now, Eric, is Kickstarters and OSR stuff. I don't buy any old stuff anymore. Right. So at a certain point, I'm going to look at my Merp collection, for instance, and say, you know what, Merp collection, you're really cool, and we had a great run, but I don't read you anymore. And you're great, and you're worth a lot of money. I think I'm going to sell you because I'm old and I need money for medical supplies.
There you
right? Go. Or my Judges Guild collection, or my Dragon Magazine collection, or my Dungeon Magazine collection, or my Polyhedron collection. All these things that are great to have, I have them on PDF, man. If I want to read them, I can read them. So eventually I'll be getting rid of that stuff. It's going to make it easier to get rid of, but I'm just going to put a bug in everybody's ear. We're going to try to have the CS guy on next couple weeks. I think it's a really interesting subject. I want him to answer some questions that people have because, as I said, old school grognards are really not with this at all. They are really pissed that this is happening, and some of the responses are outrageous there. But I love these, man. These are nice, man. Like I said, they're like half an inch thick, and they're solid. And plus, it's great for display. I can display my stuff now. I couldn't put a Dragon Magazine up here by itself, mostly because somebody come along with their grubby little hands, try to pull it out. Probably, the tape stuck to the back. Pull it off or whatever. No, that way I can display it. I can actually bring it places. I'll probably start bringing them to the con to display. Behind the counter or something because they're cool to display.
All right, so how much
they do great PDFs, David. No, they don't great PDFs. That's a good one, though. I like it. Can they slab lead minis? No, they can't. They are working trying to slab hard covers. They're not going to do box sets, which makes sense. Box sets would be really tough, I would think. Yeah. They're going to do hard covers because there's some expensive hard covers out there. Which, speaking of which, Monster Man just went for $26,000 the other day. That was signed by all the artists and Gary Gygax. So that was So yeah, it was a first print too. So those are getting up there too.
All right. So what's the cost behind this?
They run about, like I said, they run anywhere $35 to $45 a piece. It depends on, it just depends on how much you insure it for, how much the extra, like if you want to get it pressed, which I would always recommend. Most of the time, pressing does help the item out. There's some stuff I need, like I brought my strategic reviews in to get slabbed. I didn't bother pressing them. They're only a few pages long. They're not really like a big book, so there's not really a lot of creases in them or waviness or anything like that. So
right.
Here's what I've heard. So they've said that number one, books are meant to be read. If you're not reading them, they're not worth it, which is that's dumb. I mean, Action Comics was meant to be read. You're not going to pull your Action Comics out of your $2 million copy of Action Comics out and flip through it with your greasy Cheeto stained fingers, because it's just stupid. At a certain point, things become collectible. They just do. And you don't read them anymore, especially if there's an alternative, which there is. Everything that's ever been printed gaming wise is on PDF. Cleaner press, starch. They actually use it's pretty cool how they do it. It's actually a scientific process. I didn't know much about it, and it actually works, man. My stuff is flat as a pancake now. I didn't really, they smush it down, and there's a thing they introduce a little moisture in there. They do something anyway. It just flattens it out, and it looks really good. You get all the creases out, and all the waviness or any raised parts is all gone. So that costs like an extra, I don't know, $5, $15, something like that. So I thought it was very affordable for $45 to $35 to $45 a piece. I thought it was very affordable. Now, yes, slabbing can raise the price, and it probably will on a lot of items. One thing that Ingo and I found was that there's very few gaming items that are near mint or better. Comics, there's a ton. I got some comics slabbed the other day too, and most of my comics were ended up like 9.0 or better because they're. So here's Black Adam number whatever, 9.4. I mean, most of my comics ended up pretty well because comics, you'd read them once, you stick them in a plastic container. Gaming stuff you gained with, right? I mean, you pulled it out and for the most part, you gained with it. So there's not a lot of modules that are actually in really, really good condition. So I think it's going to be really hard for people who really want the best copy of something. It's going to be very hard. Well, it's true, David. You can't lovingly fondle it, but you can lovingly fondle a lot of things. I'd say you need to probably meet a woman, and that's probably what. No, but I mean, seriously, you don't have to lovingly fondle. I've got plenty of stuff. I should show you my room right now. How many boxes? I mean, I don't have to lovingly fondle that. I mean, I've got this working right now. I mean, look at this stuff. I mean, I've got boxes. I mean, look. I don't have to worry. I have so many long boxes that putting a Dragon magazine #1 in a slab is not going to hurt my reading material at all. So I have so much stuff. But this is something we'll talk about later, and we'll probably have questions because if people have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But we're going to talk about some other stuff. I just want to let people know that I did do that. It's really cool, and we will talk about it at one point in a little more depth. But I was very pleased about the slabs I got. And like I said, I can't wait to come to a con and like display this stuff. It's just so cool to be able to show it and have to hand it to you. Say, Eric, you want to see my Warriors and Mars? I go, yeah. And Eric looks at it. I don't have to worry about, if Eric, was eating Cheetos earlier, if he wiped his hands after going to the bathroom or whatever. He could just
look at it. You know what we're gonna worry about? Scratch eating.
You don't know. I don't know where your hands have been. I have no clue.
I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna scratch my initials in the bottom.
Yeah, you might want to put your initials in the copy of my Dragon one. I don't know why you want to do that, but you might want to.
I'll do it in the plastic. I'll do it in plastic, just nice. Like you do on the subway trains here in New York, and that way, you got to re-slab it. You get a slab to slab, dude. You got to slab to slab.
All right. So what else do we have going on here today?
We got a couple of things. All right. So you know what? Maybe we'll talk about the one that seems to be under the radar, which I don't think I've seen anybody talking about. D&D Beyond.
Oh yes.
Hold on a second. Let me get. Now we all know that they're working on a VTT, and by the way, the early alpha VTT playtest was out there, and they're all under embargo. They can't talk about it, but people are talking about it. And people are not impressed. Oh no, the Unity thing is another thing we can talk about, but this is one that nobody's talking about, as far as I know. But yes, introducing maps on D&D Beyond. This is
Oh, okay. Well, everybody loves maps. That's good, Eric. I mean, they can do maps, right? Because everybody loves maps. That's awesome.
So, from what I can gather,
and they already do maps, right? So, I mean, this isn't going to be hard for them. I mean,
and it's a unique name for the service, right? Just maps. Because why?
Somebody got paid a lot of money for that. Probably some marketing guy got paid quite a bit.
Yeah, man. Let's just call it maps. Yes, maps. We're introducing maps for the first time. Maybe they'll trademark it. The word maps.
Maps, TM. You can't use the word maps anymore in your game.
So, here's the thing. Become a master tier subscriber today to host game sessions using maps. And by the way, this is an alpha. It's not even in beta.
Oh, it's not in beta yet. This is alpha. This is like we've only just begun. Yeah.
Introducing maps. This alpha feature allows DMs and players to participate in tactical gameplay together on D&D Beyond. Now, if you're using a VTT of any sort, I don't care if you're using Screen Monkey from a decade ago, you probably have a much more powerful VTT than maps. But as a DM, prep game to maps from sources in your D&D Beyond library, or upload your own creation. Populate your maps with tokens representing the characters, their friends, and their foes.
I'm not hearing anything that sounds revolutionary yet. So but you're going to get me. You're going to hit me. Okay, so keep going. Yeah. Right.
You can host game sessions in maps with a master tier subscription, and then invite any D&D Beyond registered players to your maps hosted games. When you subscribe, any future D&D content release is automatically supported by your content library. That's assuming that you purchase the content. So keep that in mind. So, why they're looking for a way to get subscriptions going. Now, why? This isn't the VTT, right? This is actually, in some way, competition to the VTT. But let's just check out subscriptions. And they compare the hero tier, which is $217 a month, with the master tier. The master tier hosts game sessions with maps, is $458 a month. So this is their attempt. Why would you want to use a VTT that doesn't have dice rolling, doesn't have voice, doesn't have video, doesn't have the ability to draw on the screen, doesn't have fog of war, doesn't have shit right now, but you can pay $458 a month to put your players through it. But there's more. Because I went to their 2D maps facts. Is this the 3D VTT that you announced? Did it switch over? Hold on a second. I lost it. God damn it. Hold on. Let me share screen. All right. Now we'll get it. Is this the 3D VTT that you announced? No, our 3D VTT based in the Unreal Engine is still under development. By providing both maps and our 3D VTT, we are building an ecosystem. Think of it as economics system. They're talking about how to fleece you for money, take money. They're looking at how they can get money out of your pocket. That provides hybrid and digital play experiences that allow fans to choose how and where they want to play. Really, what if I want to play on Roll20? What if I want to play on Foundry? This means fans will be able to play D&D characters wherever they want to. So long as it's on D&D Beyond, the 3D VTT, or pen and paper. So they want this to be the default VTT, which has no fucking features. Oh, I like this. Why do you define alpha? How do you define alpha for maps? And why release an alpha instead of a completed feature for $4.58 a month? So that's roughly $54 a year, $60 a year, something like that. We define alpha as our earliest version of the tool to enable a new way to play on D&D Beyond. This alpha version will contain bugs, feature gaps, and may even crash at times. but we're happy to take your money for the experience. We are excited to share this new play tool with our users and are committed, or should be committed, to providing further support for Dungeon Masters. The best way to improve this tool is by putting it in your hands early to experience and provide feedback throughout the development. My God. My God. That
Wow.
is such a basic money grab. It is scary how big a money grab it is. If they said, hey, listen, we're going to put this out there and it's going to be free for the next 6 months, I'd forgive them. But they are giving you a featureless virtual tabletop, no dice roller, right? I mean, you can move, you can upload maps and move pods around. What more do you need? What more do you what you want to be able to write on it? No, 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 no. No, no. You want to be able to have your hit points on your pod? Well, yeah, we know that Roll20 already has that feature, but you don't need it. You know, that's why you have scrap paper. Well, if I have scrap paper, what do I need your VTT for? Don't ask questions. Pay your $4.58 and shut the fuck up.
This is this. If you look at the dictionary under money grab, this is the picture. This is the absolute picture.
Yeah. This is so fucking, and nobody is talking about this. This is kind of like a little stuff, and nobody's talking about it because nobody's impressed by it. But I mean, yeah, no, this is, and I will not watch my language. I have a potty mouth. Oh, I guess that will lead into our next thing. But yes, play to test it for us. Like paying Con Ed and the lights go out at random intervals. Con Ed is robbing us blind, man. Robbing us blind. What do you call a toilet that don't flush, Watsy? All right, so now I gotta get something ready here. All right, so now we've already talked about my language, right? And I know my language upsets a few people. I apologize. Not really. But I mean, I would apologize if I actually was concerned, but I'm not. So
no, you don't care.
I don't care. I literally don't give a fuck. So this is from the new under Fandelver, beneath Fandelver, the new Fandelver that is releasing, and there's a character transformation. Apparently, it turns one or more players into mind flayers. And that should be like, all right, that's cool. And the following optional rules allow you to track the effects of far realm character influence on characters. But then they say player consent is required. Now, does that mean that if you're saying that, and here I'll go through what's required, before you use the character transformation rules presented in this section, check with each player, to step out of the game, to determine if they are open to their characters experiencing physically transformative effects. A player will not miss game benefits if they choose not to use these rules for their character. All right. Now, first off, we are playing a game, and the game requires a buy-in, right? Your characters are going to get damaged.
Well, I mean, the whole D&D, the whole aspect of D&D, it's all a buy-in. It's a buy-in is that your adventurers, you're going to be going through a quasi-medieval fantasy environment. Bad things are going to happen to you, but you're going to fight your way past them and hopefully come up with treasure and magic. But that's what boiled down to it. That's what the whole buy-in to D&D is that you're going to you're going to go kill some monsters and get their treasure. Or you're going to, but you can do other things along the way. You're going to go into town, talk to the shopkeeper, or you're going to explore the mountains over here. You're going to fight your way through a trap. But mostly you're going to be killing monsters in a dungeon, and you're going to be finding treasure. That's your plot line right there.
So nothing detrimental can happen to a character without the consent of the player. Because you might be like, well, make sure you get consent from your players before you cast Fireball. What about hold person? I mean, if you want to offensive spell, hold person if cast on a player character takes them out of combat, makes them sit by and watch helplessly, well, maybe they need consent on that because you're telling them they're going to sit out of the game for the next 20 minutes.
I mean, yeah, it's not their fault they can't participate in combat. How dare you do that?
You know, I mean, that's how, if you can't handle, listen, I know I played games where players, right? I've got polymorph other. I'm gonna polymorph the dragon into an ant. Right? We've all heard that story.
Mm-hmm.
If it can be done to your opposition, if it can be done to the monsters, the non-player characters, it can happen to you all. If this is, and they're not saying, this doesn't seem to be an optional rule when you're saying player consent is required. So where do you draw the line? Now, I know that this will come into the whole X card shit and all that stuff. When I did my game on Saturday morning, my warning was, folks, I was a New York City police officer for 20 years. My language will likely be offensive to some, if not all. I already am giving you a warning. I didn't say, you know what, if I curse, you could step out of the game and do a timeout because I have a potty mouth. Or I was like, you know, if the players fuck something up, if the main baddie hits them the right way, if you level drain a first level character, they're dead. If that happened, do I need consent before I do that? And then this just, I understand.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for just a second.
Yes.
You can see there are situations where this might be used, and I'll give you an example. Remember the dude in England that was trying to role play sexual assault?
Yes.
And got in trouble because that was just ridiculous. Because anybody with half a fucking brain would know not to do that, right? Except this guy who was doing it on a live streaming YouTube show. But so if, you know, I don't know, child torture, there would be things that I could see where I would be uncomfortable personally, where I'd be like, I don't like this storyline. You know, you come upon children disappearing in town, you go into a warehouse, you find a bunch of dead kids. I'm not going to dig that. I'm going to be like, yeah, do we have to do that? Does this have to be the game? Why is it, you know, well, I want to make the bad guys really bad. Well, yeah, they're really bad. I can understand that. So I can see a situation where you might warn people like, look, this is an adult horror game. There's going to be really horrific stuff in here. If you have any questions about that, I would not play. You know, like Call of Cthulhu is that. Call of Cthulhu is that kind of game. Call of Cthulhu really horrific stuff. Read some of the original Chaosium modules. They're pretty horrific. There's some. I remember one module that was written where you're looking for a kid and you find him and he's had all the fingers of his hand cut off. I mean, that's like, whoa. I remember reading that when I was a kid, going, or not a kid, but a teenager, going, man, that's rough, man. But these people, it was trying to show you these people that were horrific. These cult members that had them. But yeah, I can see why that would do it. But they're talking about stuff like, well, there might be a spider in the game,
right?
You know, or rats. Rats are, you know. I used to say I was freaked out by frogs. She could not stand frogs. If a giant frog would have been like a no on her, that would have been like, nope, X card. I'm not going to do giant frogs. They're gross. They're disgusting. I think the difference now between like, okay, an X card. Look, if you want to use X cards, that's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. If somebody's going to use X card in a game, you know, that's you saying, I want you, the players, to feel safe in the game, whatever. I wouldn't do it personally, but I could.
I was going to ask you, would you do an X card?
No,
in your game? No.
But also, I'm very careful about people I choose for my games. The group I played with for years, decades in some cases. Con games, I usually stay up front. It's an adult game, which means people can drink around the table. There might be cursing. You know, don't bring your kids.
Right.
But this is different because this is actually in the rules. This is telling you that, Mr. DM, I'm going to want you to know something. You better do it this way because this is the way the rules are written. That's, I think, where the difference between this and like an X card is. Whereas I don't mind the X card, because if that's something between you and your players, if you want to do it, fine. If your players want to do it, fine. But this is like, no. You need to do this now. You're playing the game that we wrote, and we want you to do this now. Now, of course, you can just ignore it, right? You can just say, well, I don't know I'm not going to do this.
Right.
Mark it out in black mark or whatever. But just the fact that they felt like they had to put it in there.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to get to the point now where conventions have to make a disclaimer? Some of the games run may be adult in nature, not necessarily sexual, but may have adult themes. Player discretion is advised. You're waiving your ability to make a complaint, because when they're putting this into an official product and they're saying player consent is required, now players, I'm not saying all, but a number of 5e players are going to be looking at that going, wow, transform me into a mind flayer requires consent. Well, you know what? I think hold person on me requires consent.
How about charm person? Charm person. That there's been scuttlebutt for years that WotC has looked at taking charm person out of the game because of the aspect of charm person that are squicky for some people. You know what I'm saying? So there's been rumors for years that the next edition they would either downplay or take charm person completely out of the game because of the implications, right? That, hey, I can charm this guy to, take off his clothes and run around the street and, go molest a chicken, but so, I can, whole person, charm person, paralyzation, anything that takes power away from sleep. What about sleep?
Oh my God.
On the ground, you're out.
Different older games, no save though. How about, Mike, have you ever had a doppelganger take over a PC's place in a game?
And those are the coolest games.
Yes.
It's even better when you take the player aside and you go, hey, you're a doppelganger now. Your real person has been knocked out and kept hostage. You have to play like you're yourself, but you're really a doppelganger. I've done that before. That was a blast. The player was all into it, like, oh, this is going to be great. So you have to.
I can screw my fellows over and not be accountable for it.
Your character's okay, but you have to make them do this. You're going to try to lead them to this certain part of the dungeon. But you have to make it like you're real. Of course, 10 minutes afterwards, they go, okay, there's something wrong with Fred over here. He wants us to go to this part of the dungeon really bad. So, hey, the dungeon master just talked to him for a little bit. Oh, he's a doppelganger. Kill him. Or he's charmed. Maybe he's just charmed by a vampire. I don't know. Just kill him anyway. We can raise him later.
I mean,
what about monsters that charm you? What about a vampire? A vampire's gay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen. All right. Are you okay with that? Because if you're not okay with that, we'll just won't have that effect take place. We don't want you missing out on any game benefits. Well, there's no game benefits of being charmed, right? So I guess
it's not happening to you. It's happening to your character. It's not you. If it was you, yes. If the DM said, I want to change you to a mind flayer, you'd be like, I don't want to be a squid head. But it's your character. And I understand where some people are really attached to their character. But if it's part of the game, and you look, and you and I both played enough D&D to know, Eric, that it's a reasonable effect. This is going to be reversed at some point, right? I mean, usually you don't put a Medusa in the dungeon unless along the line you're going to run into like a stone to flesh spell or something. It's cause and effect type thing. And so, yes, if you're changing your player into mind flayers, at some point you're going to find a way to change back. Is it just the fact that I guess that's not the reason. The fact is just the fact that you're going to have to do something against your will that you don't like, even for a little while, even for a game that might only last an hour.
It's expecting we generally, even amongst the younger players, expect a certain amount of maturity to come along with it. And if you're not mature enough to handle, oh my God, my character is taking on mind flayer characteristics, and apparently you don't miss out on game benefits if you don't. So you don't change into a mind flayer, but you get all these game benefits anyway. Well, how the hell does that work? I mean, oh God.
It opens a wormy casket of worms. Is this where the game's going? Is that they got to ask permission to everybody? I mean, I saw a really good article about the X card recently, and I thought one part of it was really interesting. So the comments afterwards, people were talking about how they either like or don't like the X card.
Right.
And the people that use it, somebody asked him, how often do you actually have somebody use the X card in the game? In other words, put the card down. Like, okay, you come into a spider's den. Oh, X card. You come into the slaver's den. X card. Oh, you don't like slaves. And most people said, like, yeah, I've had it like once in about 5 years. So it's, it's not a huge problem. It's just not a big issue for most people, enough to where I think they have to make a separate rule about it. It's just not, it happens very occasionally. And I think look, honestly, if you want to use the X card, fine. The X card would cover this too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, your character changes their mind. Like, oh, I'm going to X card that. I don't want to be a squid head. Okay, well, we'll figure something else out for you. But to have it put in the rules explicitly is just dumb.
God. All right.
That's stupid.
What else should we go on to?
Is that gaming stupid, by the way? Because that's pretty stupid.
That's pretty stupid, yes.
But so I see the question being asked by a lot of people. I mean, lately, is that, well, what is D&D going to look like next year? Which nobody knows. That's the big shakeout, right? This is the shakeout year, and the next year we're going to lay our cards on the table. Eric, I'm going to throw something out. What if WotC doesn't know what D&D is going to be next year?
Oh,
what if they don't? What if they don't know? Is our VTT going to work? And if it doesn't work, what are we going to do? Because we put all our eggs in this video game basket. Are we going to start using? Are we going to start including stuff like the X card and consent in our games themselves? Are we still going to let players choose to do that themselves? Or are we going to give them a choice? I mean, it doesn't look good, Eric. It looks like they're going in the wrong direction. I'm not sure they even know what the right direction is anymore. I'm not sure.
Well, listen. If you're playing with your home group, generally speaking, you know how far you can push things, how far you can.
I'll give example. We don't. So my group is all dudes. We've been playing together for decades. Some of us. We don't. Look, if they're in a bar afterwards and the barbarian guy wants to take a waitress to the room, we don't role play that out. God knows we don't role play.
Oh my God!
Anything romantic, we don't role play. We just say, "Here's what happened," whatever. As a matter of fact, we have the carousing chart that we use, which we've had a blast with. So sometimes the carousing chart will have some hilarious, things on there, and we'll role play. We'll role play it out though. We're like, okay, next morning you wake up, blank. Here's what happens, and they're like,
your wee falls off.
Well, one of the ones they woke up with, one of the carousing chart, they couldn't find one of the dwarves afterwards. They go look from his room. He's with the halfling bartender, and they're like, "Huh." Female halfling bartender. And they're like, okay, that happened. And he goes, "Oh my God, what happened?" And she just winked and said, "You don't remember," and left. And that's all we did. And that was hilarity. We were like, "Oh my God." And they're like, "Boy, what?" And he's like, "I don't think anything happened, but I don't know. I was carousing last night. I don't know." That's as deep as we get. And then we move on to the action of the D&D game. We don't do romantic stuff. So no, this is something we don't do. We're not going to role play romance but we know the group. We know that's something. Right. Some groups might like to do that. They may go deep into role playing, which is creepy. It may be creepy, but if that's the way they want to roll, fine. But I personally wouldn't go that way.
Mr. Gunn, Joe just likes to go shopping. Okay, if you want shopping or gambling, when I ran Rapid Athletics, the campaign ended.
Oh my God! The gambling room.
In the gambling room. Yeah, no, that was
the slot machines.
The magic of slot machines.
But you were saying, Eric, I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry, but when you have a group that you play together with and you know each other well, you know what does and doesn't work. I mean, let's just go to extreme. Let's say their dog just recently died and they love pets. You're not going to run a game where they have to go, find somebody who's killing the dogs in the city. That's just too much, right? I mean, that's just human. That's just common sense. You're not going to run that game. Now gamers aren't always the most perceptive, but
and when you run games at a convention, all right, first off, you always have to remember you're running for the lowest common denominator.
Absolutely. And you may be running for kids unless you've said adults only. And sometimes you say adults only and they bring a kid anyway. And you're like, oh, I've got a kid tonight. And I've had that happen in my games. Adults only, but we have 2 kids in the game somehow. And I'm not going to tell them the kids to leave. I'm just going to tone the game down.
Yeah.
I want the kids to play. I think it's, that's great that their dad's bringing them to play.
So, and that is, dare I say, it's something that's often missing from society these days, common sense. And
Yes.
why is it missing? Because there are people, I'm just making a general statement, but there are people in society, there are people in gaming that are entitled. All right. And instead of, coming into it and going, oh, gee, this might make me uncomfortable. And you can also say, hey, it's kind of, do we have to go this direction? Oh, all right. Maybe I'm going a little bit too deep in the description of the mass destruction you all did. I'll tone it down. And that's called being an adult, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're describing the death and destruction too deeply. I can't handle entrails in front of me. That's like, all right.
But like you were talking about buy-ins earlier. I mean, okay, you hate spiders, and then there's a giant spider in the game, and you throw the X card down. You're saying my wants and needs are more important than everybody else at this table. I'm the one who's scared of spiders. I knew I was playing a quasi-medieval fantasy game that might have giant creatures in there, yet I'm going to stop the game down because I don't really like the giant spider, and I think spiders are squeaky. Now, okay, if, once again, the subject I had earlier, it was about there's child murders in the city, I can see somebody saying that's not where I want to go. I have 3 kids, and I don't want to do an adventure. But spiders, come on. There's going to, or my friend that hates frogs. I mean, there might be giant frogs. It's just going to happen. And that's your problem, not the whole party's problem, is it?
Right. And usually when the example I've always heard for the X card is, if you have arachnophobia, you can play the. I've heard that's nobody says, if your nephew was abducted and we're dealing with children's abductions, you could that's the time to play. No, they always do it for something stupid. If you're lactose intolerant and they're saying that your character drinks milk, you may play the X card. That's why I don't take the X card seriously.
The examples that I was given in the article I was reading, the comments, they were really dumb. It was like that. It was like somebody said that, well, I don't like spiders, so I had to play the X card when there was a giant spider. And the DM, to his credit, changed it to a giant snake or something. You're not scared of snakes? You're scared of spiders? Come on, man. Yeah. But I'm just saying is that it was never, like you said, it was never something really important like, hey, I had this happen and I don't really think this is good. It's always something very minute or very obscure and just silly, Like, oh, we're going to fight wolves. I love dogs. We can't fight. Wolves are canines also. I can't kill a wolf.
Well, it's even like, all right, well, you fall into a trap. You fall 20 feet. No, I'm playing my X card. I had a bad fall off a ladder. I'm doing my Matt Jackson impression right now. I had a bad fall off a ladder. I need to play my X card because I can't. All right, change. All right, well, all right. The trap hits you with a spear from the wall. Are you better? We already went through the trap anyway. Does it make a difference if you? Come on. I mean, this it isn't all. It's a group experience. It isn't all about the.
Once again, Eric and I aren't saying if you want to use the X card in your game, go ahead and use the X card. I don't care, and I don't think Eric cares either. It's just that I think what we're talking about here is I don't. One of the reasons I don't want it is because it requires you become more the individual, the player, become more important than everybody else in the game because they were all fine with this plot device and you weren't. Wouldn't it just be, I know this sounds terrible. Would it be easier if you just left the game and just said, I just don't think I'm going to be able to play this today and not spoil everybody else's enjoyment and just say, I'm just going to, I'm going to roll out of this game because it's called Lair of the Spider Queen. And I just remember that I really don't like spiders. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of spiders in this game because it's called Lair of the Spider Queen. So I'm just going to tootle on down the hall. Wouldn't that be better than throwing an X card down every time they mention the word spiders? And then it becomes Lair of the Roach Queen or whatever. Well, actually, some people might like roaches less than spiders, even. So
need more cowbell. You don't need an X card in a movie theater. You get a rating for a few words. It's worked for decades. Wow, yeah. This movie is rated R for violence, nudity, and adult language. Listen, my game is rated R for violence and adult language.
I
If you
think pretty
don't
much
like it,
when you put it out there that you're running an adults only game with adult themes, I think you're pretty much putting out there that things could happen, or like I said, I always come back to Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is a fun game, but it involves people like being driven mentally insane by sights from beyond time and space. There's cult sacrifices, there's horrific monsters, and can you imagine playing Call of Cthulhu with an X card?
oh
Flap,
god,
flap, 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 flap. I mean, every room. You walk in, the decapitated body, slap. You walk in, the body is dead, slap. There's a guy, looks like he's hurt, but he's bleeding. Oh, blood, slap. I mean, how could you even play Call of Cthulhu?
there's a mannequin. It could look like a dead person, but it isn't.
And then the deep one comes for deep ones. Those are the ones that look like frogs, right? Yeah. Card.
All right. The snake creature. Oh, no, I don't like snakes either. All right. You know what? The lobster-like creature. I'm allergic. I'm allergic to shellfish. I'm allergic to shellfish. I could go into anaphylactic shock. Can't have that one.
Can you imagine having to make your sandy roll? Oh, hold on. I had a cousin that was in a mental institution. Oh, that's the main aspect of Call of Cthulhu. So you could go. So that's why we don't talk about Call of Cthulhu. For some reason, Call of Cthulhu is allowed to get away with everything, but D&D, like, no, we have to be sensitive. Call of Cthulhu, you can talk about all that stuff. But no, D&D is a totally different story.
Don has
no crazy stuff there.
Don, you also need to be careful in playing with people you do not know. And
yes,
make sure you are playing with the drama queen, the person being overly sensitive for the sake of attention. I have dealt with that a couple of years ago. And God, it's at a convention. It is a random draw. I am lucky that most people that play in my games at a convention at this point generally join my games because it's me running it. So they generally know what to expect, and they know me, and I generally know them to some extent. So, but
yeah, that's the real wild card, because when you're playing with your own group, I mean, like I said, these guys, I know what their triggers and not triggers are, so we just stay away from stuff they don't want to deal with. But when you're playing at a convention, it gets tough. It is tough because look, I'll be honest with you. If I was playing a game at convention, I would probably never, with the climate, the way things are today, I would never put anything in there the least bit controversial, especially anything having to do with a romantic or sexual situation. That's like out. And I would leave off the heavy gore. I mean, just make it a fun fantasy game where everybody goes and they kill monsters and they find treasure. You don't have to get any deep stuff. That's the guy. I can't remember the guy in England's name who got basically booted out of the whole industry for his shenanigans. But the fact that he was running a game and everything was going fine, for weeks and weeks, and then he decides that, in character, his NPC is going to molest the player character of a female character. I mean, what goes through your head to even think that would be even somewhat acceptable? Yeah. Unless you're just going to try to be edgy edgelord. I'm edgy edgelord DM. That just doesn't happen, Eric. I wouldn't worry about that as much as I would worry about somebody trying to be a drama queen. Seriously, the fact that I just don't think most DMs are going to be that clueless. And I think even afterwards, I think the guy even said afterwards, well, I was just trying to shake the party up a little bit, and throw something out there. I mean, he was trying to, he's a streamer. He was trying to get ratings or do something controversial. Right. Most DMs are not going to throw that kind of stupid shit at you and do anything idiotic like that.
All right. Do you want to touch on the Unity fiasco?
Oh my God! I can't believe we didn't leave enough time. Well, we can talk as long as we want. So yeah, let's go ahead. Unity fiasco is hilarious.
We'll spare 5 minutes for you entertainment.
So the Unity fiasco, I'm going to just sum it up right here. Somebody looked at what WotC did this year at the OGL and thought, that is a great marketing tool.
WotC,
and just went with that. So you go ahead and talk.
WotC, hold my beer, WotC. Hold my beer. I got it. I can do it. I mean, holy shit. So,
It just shows you people are not connected to reality in any way.
Well,
CEOs are not connected to reality in any way, shape, or form. They don't live in our world, people. They don't live in our world.
Here's the thing. Somebody, a bean counter most likely, went, there's a problem with the licensing system that we have. What do you mean? Well, you see, when you sell the license, right, you license it out and you get paid. Like, yeah, that's the business model. But what if we got paid for every time somebody installed a game using our license? Think how much more money we'd make. Okay, how's that work? Well, you see, if a company makes $200,000 and 200,000 installs, we get money. So, and we retroactively apply this to everything that's already out there. So any installs going forward make us money. But these guys didn't sign that in their original contract, right? When that wasn't part of the user agreement when they signed up for this package. Oh, don't worry about that. WotC changed their contract. We can do ours. Because they didn't follow along the whole time. It's bizarrely stupid and yet so bizarrely reminiscent of Wizards of the Coast. I mean, although they lowered the cap. It's like, Wizards, we want to share over 750,000. Unity, 200,000. We want to make sure we can.
This reeks to me, Eric, of when WotC said, we're under monetized. How can we make more money? And this reeks of somebody getting on board and saying, we're under monetized here. There must be a way to make more money out of these suckers.
Yeah.
And of course, in the middle of a semi-recession, somebody says, "Hey, I know what we can do. Let's piss off every single game designer that uses our game engine." And I just think it's interesting because all the parallels to WotC. You just don't think that somebody's going to do that again, but it just shows you how out of touch these guys are in the upper levels of, man. I mean, and I come back to the Bud Light fiasco. I mean, I saw my wife and I were laughing because there's a bunch of Bud Light commercials on football this week. Oh, yeah. By the way, Eric, I did not tell you. I forgot to tell you. I'm sorry that the Cowboys absolutely ass kicked the Jets this weekend. And I am really sorry that they lost Aaron Rodgers after 4 plays.
He was my starting quarterback on my fantasy team.
And by the way, and I beat you in our game this week too.
I know.
Also, so it was a triple whammy this week.
The first
lost
week,
Aaron Rodgers, lost the game against the Cowboys, and lost.
The first week, I had no quarterback playing, and I won. I should not have won.
Because Aaron Rodgers was quarterback, and he played 4 plays.
He made it through like
didn't complete a pass. Didn't even get .001 point. Got no points at all. Yes.
And then Barkley for the Giants is out this week. My two best players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but I mean, Barkley gets hurt a lot. I mean, that's not totally unexpected. No, but Rodgers, I don't think he's ever been injured really that much. I mean, that was crazy the way that happened and how that happened. I feel for Jets fans. I'm a closet Jet fan because they never win anything, and they always have just horrible luck. And you and I have talked about this before. They have the worst luck with quarterbacks. I mean, just one after another. And I mean, not that I didn't like to see the Cowboys, gut stomping them this weekend. That was hilarious. But that's Jets fans. I feel for you, man. That's terrible.
But hey, the Giants won a game that they should not have won. I mean, the Giants slept through the first half, and then all of a sudden it's like.
Yeah, they're playing the worst team in football, but they did lose Barkley. That probably threw off their game plan. So
so as a New York fan, my teams are split 1-1. But Giants play tomorrow night, so that's going to be interesting. We slipped into football, folks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I owe Greg Gillespie a beer.
I'm always in football. Greg and I are always in football mode, no matter what the time of year. So I just threw that in because I forgot to mention it last week, the horror of losing Aaron Rodgers after you guys trade all those draft picks. Although you're not going to lose your first round pick, you know that, right? Because he had to play 65% of downs this year. So it's going to be a second round pick instead. You're going to get your terrible first round pick, Eric. The Jets are going to get a first round pick. Maybe you could take another quarterback. That would with that first round pick this year.
They're not very good at picking quarterbacks.
No, I'd say don't
Oh,
take
actually, I
it.
shouldn't say that. They're not very good at developing quarterbacks that they pick.
Oh yeah, they go to other teams and they do okay then. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in
I'm
any
sorry.
case, no,
Didn't mean to take you too far off
no,
because
no.
I had to
But
throw out that out there.
this Unity thing, they're going to find out what WotC learned too. It's like, oh, we control the market. Well, you know what? You control the market until you relinquish the market. What happened after the OGL fiasco? Now, games are being released under Creative Commons. Games are being released under the Orc license. Games are being released under their own license. And people are saying, fuck you to WotC, fuck you and your OGL.
Look at the success of the OSR. Look how much money Dolmenwood made. Shadow Dark. I mean, it's amazing because people are willing to give money to anybody but WotC. Like, oh, you have a 5e. I mean, Shadow Dark is it's all it is it's 5e. We're gonna add some other rules into it. Okay, well, good. You're not.
It's a stripped down 5e.
Yeah.
You don't have all those feats. You don't have all those skills. You can create a character quickly. You're not stuck like forever in that never-ending 5e character generation. God.
And by the way, speaking of that, for the just a plug, Greg Gillespie's Dragon Slayer is still has a week to go. It is an OSR rule system that's going to fit in with his Mega Dungeon. So go check that out. It's already funded, so you're going to, and knowing Greg, it's probably already written, so you will definitely get it. So I backed it. It looks like a really, really fun system. So just a little plug there for Dragon Slayer.
Oh, so
Week to go.
let me now. There is other OSR news. We'll throw this out there real quickly. There will be a new version of Labyrinth Lord coming out. I don't think it's 2e anymore. I think it's revised. I don't know the details because I am blocked by all of Goblinoid Games.
Oh, I am too. Yeah.
And Dan Proctor's social media. Because if you say anything at all at any time that is less than, I'm going to say it, less than ass kissing, Dan will block you. So I am.
Do you even remember what we said to have gotten blocked? Because we have always been very complimentary of Labyrinth Lord.
Yes. No. I back in years ago when Starship and Spaceman first came out, I pointed out a number of typos in it, and he was very upset with me. So he probably, when he started his mass blocking, that probably earned me the block, and you probably got one by association.
We're probably Frog God Association, yeah, because we dropped Labyrinth Lord. We didn't use it for Whispering Venom, so he probably got mad. And
so I mean, whatever. But in any case, there is a new. I don't even know if it's a new edition. There's a new version of Labyrinth Lord in the works. I wish Dan well. Labyrinth Lord's a great game. It deserves more love from Dan and Goblinoid Games than it's received over the last half a decade.
I think all anybody ever wanted Dan to do was just to do something with it, and he literally just let it sit there for a decade without doing anything, without even an update, or I'm going to reissue the rules with some corrections, or I'm going to put some extra stuff. He just completely abandoned the game. Now he's had issues in his life, obviously, stuff we won't even talk about that's happened in the last few years. And, I understand that, but that was what people were upset about, not the fact there were ever bad rules or, we're trying to be mean to you by saying, that you haven't done anything. But the truth was he didn't do anything with it for a decade. So,
Marcelo, we're not rewarding that type of behavior. It is news. And part of what we do is give updates of what's going on in the OSR. But the news I can give you on this is very limited because my firsthand knowledge is extremely limited. So,
what I've heard from secondary sources who are privy to stuff is that this is basically it's just going to be a rework. It's just going to be a update rework. It's not going to be a new rule system. He's not going to include any new stuff. This is inside info from people. He got frustrated with what he was saying was going to be in the rules. People said, we don't want that. We just want Labyrinth Lord. And I think he's just giving his fans what they want. They just want Labyrinth Lord back in a new edition. They don't want all these changes that he was thinking about. He was thinking about putting a lot of changes in there. And people were like, no, we don't want those changes. We just want Labyrinth Lord. So I think there's a result of that. And he just So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think if he runs a Kickstarter, it should be moderately successful. I mean, because the name still has cachet. It's been a while since anybody's published anything for Laboratory, because there's no reason to publish anything for Laboratory right now because the game rules have been updated in a decade. So that's why everybody jumped over to OSC and other rule systems, because there wasn't anything being published under that name.
He does not own Pacesetter Games, although he owns the rights to some games. Pacesetter Games.
He owns the rights to Chill. He owns the rights to
Time Master and
Time Master. Yeah,
I'm not sure about Sandman, but
I don't know. But the Pacesetter name, Bill Barsh has that trademarked, and so Bill Barsh and Ben Barsh is Pacesetter. But yeah, he owns the properties of Pacesetter. I guess that's the way to put it. He owns the old properties.
Oh, the original Pacesetter games.
Yeah, the original Pacesetter games. So Chill, Time Master. What was they had another one that was really big for a while. I can't remember. I think he owned the Spaceships and Spacemen, but that wasn't Pacesetter. That was another system.
Right. So he has the original rules out, and then he has a Labyrinth Lord version of the rules that are out. It's a Labyrinth Lord version. It's not a bad version, I'll be honest with you. If you want to play Star Trek with an OSR rule set out of the box, it fits pretty well. You're gonna have to fill in a lot of the blanks, but it gives you a good starting spot.
The problem is that you can't rest on your laurels. Even when it comes to OSR, people are going to look. Most of the OSR retro clone stuff is based off of OD&D, 1E, 2E, one of the original systems, BX, whatever. Yeah. And so if you put out a system like basically Laboratory is based on BX or whatever, you're not ever going to be the only system ever based on BX. Somebody's going to come along like the OSC guys did, Gavin Norman, all them, and do it one up you and say, we're going to do this, but we're going to do a cool layout and better art and color and this and that. And so you can't just rest on your laurels forever and say, well, I did this BX clone and that's going to be it forever. And I'm never going to put anything else out. And you can't do your own BX clone, damn it. Which Dan I guess he thinks he's doing by doing a C&D to any other BX clones. Which is not really going to work out because you're allowed. I mean, if somebody wanted to make an OD&D clone, what's Matt Finch doing? As long as it's not a copy of Swords and Wizardry, he could just say, well, that's why if you look at Swords and Wizardry, it's not a straight OD&D clone. I mean, there's thieves in it. They have different classes in there. He did an OD&D clone with some extra added stuff in there because you don't want to do an exact clone. You want to throw in your own. Right. And that's the same thing with any system out there. If you want to do a clone of something, you have to be prepared that somebody else is going to do just exactly what you did. They're going to say, oh, I want to do a clone of that too, but I'm going to do this. I mean, look at what's Chris Kahneman's Basic Fantasy Role Playing. Mm-hmm. That's basically a basic clone, but he does differently. He has ascending and descending armor class for one. But there's some other differences, some other changes. I mean, Chris Kahneman updates. At least he does updates to his games and systems. There's actually stuff being released for Basic Fantasy Role Playing.
Oh, a lot.
They have releases. They have a lot of releases.
And by the way, if you go to Amazon, you're pretty much getting those books at cost. You can get them free in PDF. The support material for it is second to none. You can use it with any of the OSR games.
Basic Fantasy?
Yeah.
And it's cheap. And, one thing Chris Kahneman's great about is he's already said this. He does not charge hardly. He makes very little money off his stuff.
Yeah, it's essentially
really cheap. Really cheap. And there's some fun. I have, I think, everything published for Basic Fantasy. He has some really fun. He's got one that's like an Against the Giant series. One that's it's called The Chaotic Caves. It's like a B2, like a different take on B2. He's got some fun stuff. It's stripped down. It's black and white. It's cheap art. It's really cheap maps, but it's fun stuff. It really is. Basic Fantasies. I can't say enough about that. It's good stuff.
Wow. We covered more than I expected us to, Mike.
We covered quite a bit because once we start talking, it's hard to shut us up.
You can never somebody's gonna shut you up. Hear the cat.
She didn't get fed at the same time tonight, but she's getting new feeding hours. She's gonna have to deal with it. Cats do not control me. I control my cat. I'm sorry. I'm not like those people I can't move because my cat's sleeping on my arm. I go, yeah, get off my arm, dummy. So yes, she's
I'm
learning
gonna
that her
keep
new
it.
feeding hours are going to be different. She's going to have to tough it out.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, babe.
Good luck. I wish
Yeah,
you
no
luck with
kidding.
that, Mike.
Good luck with that. Yeah, no kidding. Well, that's going to work out for me. 3 a.m. Meow, meow, hit me on the face like, oh, what's up?
You know, it's cooled down if I can turn off my AC and open up my window behind my on the other side of this computer. And my cat is not there now, but when she gets behind it, she likes to push things away. And then she'll reach through and push my keyboard off. Or
Oh
push my
boy.
mouse off. Oh yeah, she's
My cat would be dead. She knows she's really good about. She does not mess with human stuff, but she can be very loud and annoying when she wants you to pay attention to her. Like I was working once and doing something. I might have been doing a show with you. She was locked in the room. She meowed the entire 2 hours. 2 hours straight. Like, okay, I know you're there. I want you in there right now because I don't want to get up and let you out. But yeah, she'll do that. She'll meow for hours. And then you let her out and she's like, hey, what's up? You didn't hear me? Yeah, I heard you. I heard you 2 hours ago. I didn't let you out because I didn't want to let you out.
There you go.
That's
actually, we have 3,001 subscribers. We picked up.
I am so excited about this. This is gonna be great.
Keep the energy going. Folks.
What did we give away? What was the prize this week? What did we
gave away
exactly
We gave away $100.
Wow.
In drive-through RPG gift credit, and that will go
next
out.
week. We'll probably have some. Look, I'll put together a care package of happiness, and we'll do some stuff for next week too. Well, why not? Let's keep the love going next week.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but Bunny has what? She had 3 or 4 cats. Her and Zane.
Oh God, yeah.
Yikes! Oh man, that's too many cats, man. I'm sorry.
Too many cats.
1 cat is a handful. 2, more than that.
2 is about where you kind of. If they like each other, you're good. If they don't like each other, you're
mine didn't like each other. I was not happy.
It was a very active chat. For the most part, I kept up with you all. So thank you for your patience.
By the way, thanks to Bunny and Zane last week. We had a great time. That was fun chat. That was, matter of fact, I have not looked at their Kickstarter this week, but I know it was getting close to $100,000. Sorry, I did not look at it this week. Because I already backed it, so I didn't really check. Dang it. But yeah, so they were great guests. Thanks so much for them to show up. I can't look it up right now. Oh, there it is. Financial selection. It's doing. Let's see where it's at now. It's at, oh my gosh, 99,400. I told them 23 hours left. I knew it was going to be over 100,000.
There you go.
Good for them. So that another OSR game that is benefiting from people hating WotC.
It's a beautiful thing.
We're not going to play WotC.
Don't rage quit.
Just
put your money elsewhere.
This stuff, man, I don't know if it. I can't tell you exactly if it works, but there is no way, Eric, that WotC is not cognizant of this stuff going on. There is no way. That's why they try to include that section in there, like, oh, if you make over $100,000, then you got to kick back this much, like a mafia.
Well, actually, no. WotC at least was 750,000.
Yeah, 750,000.
You got to tell us details of all your sales so we can see what's trending. 750,000. Then we fucking claw back 25% above that. So yeah, no, they were serious, man. But they were like, we're gonna make it only the big people. Well,
that was ridiculous. Part of the whole ridiculousness of WotC trend. But yeah, these companies these smaller guys have definitely benefited from it, and I'm glad they have, because it just shows me the OSR and old school gaming is alive and well, man. Every once in a while, Troy says, I hear somebody say, the old school gaming's dead, man. It's a bunch of old dudes that play. Like, no, really, you need to get your head out of your ass and look around. It is not. I mean, it's not a bunch of old dudes running, these companies anymore or putting these products out. I mean, this is a different audience. I mean, these people skew towards these are 30 and 40-year-old people. These are not old 60-year-old, 70-year-old creeps like me. These are youngsters, and they're coming up with some great stuff. Our guy from New Zealand. Who's the guy from New Zealand?
Oh God, what's his name? Did Duck Quest?
Duck Quest guy. God, oh my God.
I know.
My mind's going. I can't believe I can't.
I can picture his face.
Oh my God. What is wrong with us? We're the worst interviewers ever about anybody. Really, we just need to. There's something wrong with us.
It's called mental. I need more vitamins in my diet.
Yes, but Duck Quest guy too is awesome. Yes, they're all these guys put out third party product. Please support them because the worst thing you can do is not support them and then watch he thinks they're doing a good job because look, we're doing great here. No, when every bill you take out of Watsy's pocket has to scare them a little bit. It scares them a little bit when they say, "Oh, this is not working out exactly how we thought."
Darcy Perry, Darcy. Star Hat Miniatures. So yeah, we should get Darcy back on. Wonder what he has next project. I know he's been doing stuff for Shadow Dark. He's been active on their community. Folks, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much. I would thank Mike, but he already fucking knows it.
Yeah, whatever.
But thank you to everybody in the live stream that was chatting. Thanks to those that put us over the edge. Keep it moving. Keep the momentum going. Listen, if you ever want to know what's on my mind, all you got to do is come to this channel. I'm not going to, as I told my niece today, I go, Uncle is never going to snow you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to couch stuff in nice words. You're going to get the truth. I'll try to deliver it kindly.
We're going to give you our opinion. Look, like we told you earlier, look, when we talk about X cards, we don't like the X card, but if you want to use it, fine. Who says that? Most people have an agenda, and there's, oh man, if you use the X card, you're going to get cancer in your prostate, and it's gonna. I mean, no, we're not going to bullshit you. We're just going to say we're going to be really honest what we like and don't like in the hobby.
Right.
Just
hey, listen, if I'm at a convention and I'm looking at something for a game, and the game goes, this session will use X card, I'm probably not going to sign up for it. All right, it's not my style. I don't begrudge people who get entertainment out of playing 4E. I don't, and I might mock them behind their back, but only because it's 4E. But X cards are not my style. Just isn't. Maybe it is yours. You can game with people of like mind, and that's a great way to know. Hey, listen, everybody at the table is good for an X card. Then you're good. You don't want a table where half the people think X cards are stupid and lame, and the other half are like, oh no, this is the best tool ever. That's going to be a horrible game session, no matter where you run it. You want people on the same page. Other than that, I guess be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice.
This weekend, this Friday, you got Glenn on? Old man Garden?
No,
I think so. Yeah. Last weekend was random party.
Last weekend was a wash. Last
weekend, that's right. Nothing last weekend. You're right.
Last weekend would have been Glenn, so it's the random party. You'll have another ShireCon wrap, but you'll hear it from Tim. You'll hear it from Joe.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, this was Tim's first convention in a number of years. It was really great to see him. Rob brought his wife out.
Very good. Rob Conley was there too?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Did he do a live action demonstrating his sword skills?
No, but he did beat Joe's ass. I'm trying to get the video.
That's great.
No. There's no prostate medical quiz here. Sorry.
I'm giving myself an exam as we speak. So
yes. All right, folks. Be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. Back again Friday with the live stream at 8. Gamers Health Saturday at 8. And of course, some random video tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
Discord. Bye. Later.